Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a special episode. You guys see this bag right here? Sunset Roasters. Look how beautiful it looks. I am here with the owner of the roasting company here in San Francisco, and we're gonna be talking to him on how he got started roasting and his story. Philip, cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for coming up.
What year did you start roasting coffee out of your garage?
Well, out of the garage, we were roasting in the backyard on a little tabletop. Probably I started roasting personally, like as a home roaster, maybe 10 years ago, 2010, 2011-ish. And then, you know, we started doing a little bit more production maybe 6-7 years ago.
Now, as a profession, you're a paramedic firefighter, right?
Yes, yes.
How long have you been doing that for?
I've been a paramedic firefighter for about 18 years now. Yeah, started in 2006.
By the way, like, I always wanted to know, how is that in San Francisco? Do you see a lot of like crazy stuff, or is it a hard job?
You know, it's I've summed it up over 18 years. You sum it up as like it is community service.
Yeah.
And so whatever we see, I mean, we see some crazy things, some things that are comical, you know, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, you know, this happened or whatever. But whatever you see it as like, all right, well, how am I here to fix it or help the situation? So
okay, nice. So then you pivot from being a firefighter, paramedic, to now roasting coffee and selling coffee to your community, huh?
Yeah, that, gosh, I mean, we started the company, I guess, 4 years ago, officially. We had some unofficial events prior to that where, you know, selling to family members and such. But yeah, I mean, we've kind of pivoted and it's kind of grown into its own little baby, so to speak.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. So are you still roasting coffee out of your garage?
No, now this is just a fun little, I guess this is like a house party thing. It's like you host people over, you can barbecue, be like, hey, you want to roast some coffee yourself, and teach people a little bit. But for the most part, we are now roasting down in, we rent some time on a bigger roaster, 70-pound roaster. So.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Tell me about that experience. Like, you started first selling coffee, roasting small, eventually had to move out of the garage into something bigger. How was that difficult? Like, if someone were to like step in those shoes, you know? Yeah,
so it's kind of intimidating because everything we had and everything we needed was here in the garage when we first started. I had 6 or 7 of these brute bins. I would put one bag at a time in of greens, and we would pick them up when we needed them, and then we would roast here. But then when we had to expand, we got one of our wholesale accounts, and it's, you know, it was the thought of doing 200 pounds on this beautiful machine, but small. Now you're talking several hours, several days. And it's also scary because now you have to pay time on a roaster, so you want to maximize your time that you're using it while you're there. So basically,
since you had the demand, you had to make that jump to a higher scale.
Yeah, we had to.
Because so if someone's like looking to start this, eventually they'll have to bridge that gap, right? Because you'll get more demand and you would have to increase your volume.
Absolutely. Now, granted, how we began was in our home, in our garage. What other roasters do is they say, okay, we're going to start with the space right off the bat, and we'll grow into the space. Versus me, because maybe I was a little hesitant, or I was just, you know, for me it was the excitement of just roasting coffee. I wasn't thinking about it from a grow your business kind of concept.
You're more like a community aspect.
Yeah,
you know?
But you know, there was a point where we had to kind of grow. So I know other roasters that actually provide a space, a bigger space, and they try to grow into it, and they have a bigger roaster and they try to grow past that roaster. For us, we were like in our home, and you know, we put the kids to bed. We have 3 kids now, but we would put the 2 kids to bed, and then I would roast maybe 30 or 40 pounds here, and then we would package it all, me and Sarah. You know, so
that's beautiful, dude. So it's like you have your family upstairs, you come down here, you have your passion with coffee.
Oh man, but we'd be so tired. I mean, thank God we were in the business of coffee though. We'd be like so tired, roasting till midnight. The kids would wake up at 6 and be like, "How come you guys are tired?" You're like, "Because we didn't go to bed at 8 o'clock when you were."
Oh man.
But you know, a very fortunate situation to have for us. You know.
Well, that's amazing, man. So it's been a couple years now running Sunset Roasters, and what would you say? Where do you see it? Are you guys gonna like continue to grow organically, or what kind of vision would you have for it?
That's interesting because my wife and I have this conversation regularly, because my goal when I was in college was to initially own a coffee shop. but it might not necessarily be her goal, right?
Yeah.
And the things that a small business in San Francisco, small family business,
Yeah.
the sacrifices that those families actually make to run a business in San Francisco are a lot of them are unseen, those sacrifices, because you just go on about the daily grind.
It's tough, man.
Yeah, so for us, you know, one of our, you know, it'd be obviously a brick and mortar. We have a mobile that's getting built out, a coffee van mobile, and that's been taking a while, but it's in the process, and when that's built out, then we'll be mobile. Maybe the next step is a brick and mortar or a production facility.
Oh, okay. And tell us a little bit about that mobile one. I know it's a pretty awesome van. I'll put a picture up right now for those of you watching, but
Yeah.
tell us a little bit how that came out to be and what's the vision with that?
Well, we have a 1960s International Metro van. It was working as a coffee van in New Orleans. We did a small GoFundMe, raised the funds to purchase it. I drove it. It was a great little coffee machine, and then I kind of learned a lot of lessons along the way. And California has different regulations than Louisiana, height requirements, health requirements, all these things. So the struggle has been figuring out how to puzzle it, because it's a vintage van, how to fit it all in that small van. You know, there's a reason why people do coffee trucks and food trucks in the P20, the big boxy vans.
Yeah.
It's because it's easier to build versus
it's
like a vintage.
It's already structured for that, you know.
So we're gonna, you know, we already bought the equipment, the majority of the equipment for it. It's being built back now.
My goodness.
Gonna take it for a spin here. Popping ourselves inside. Check it on the back here. A little close on the top, but we'll figure it out. We're gonna fabricate some.
Can you tell us about the mail truck? I feel like everyone would love to hear about that.
The mail truck is a 1963 Mailster. Used to be served mail from the U.S. Postal Service back then. It's about 13 horsepower. So we bought it over in Wisconsin and had it shipped here. Now me and a friend of mine are rebuilding the engine and the transmission. And the plan is, and I'm gonna paint it. I've never painted it before. We're gonna paint it, brand it SF Coffee, and then hopefully by then we'll put an espresso machine on the back and be able to serve some coffee.
Oh, nice. No, so do you plan on just driving that to events, parking it? And
so so if we park it at events, it would be private events only. Because when you're serving in San Francisco or you're serving in California, if you're doing a public event, you have to have all these regulations per the health department. But if you're like, hey man, can you come to my son's birthday party and park this thing, it'll work.
Oh, perfect. That's gonna be amazing. So you'll have these two old school van and then the mail truck.
The mail truck, exactly.
All right, and tell us about what you're doing over there at the markets right now, farmers market, right?
Yeah, the farmers market we've been doing for 2.5 years now, and we started that in the middle of the pandemic when San Francisco had shut down July 5th of 2020. And it was just, you know, we have a 4-person operation. We run out of a 10x10 tent. Yeah. We bring a 2-group espresso machine, Linea Classic, you know, a 7,000 watt generator. We brew on site, and we'll do about 400 to 500 drinks every Sunday. It's been a lot of fun to share our coffee with the community.
Wow, that's amazing, man. Good coffee and a great story. You really can't beat that. His coffee, Sunset Roasters, it is delicious. There's gonna be 2 links below down in the video. Link number 1, sunsetroasters.com. Beautiful coffee, beautiful people. Buy yourself a bag and try it. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. Link number 2, buymeacoffee.com. That's specifically to support the content creator and be able to buy me a coffee. The funds will go back to content creation and the coffee farm I'm building in Nicaragua. So that's just to show your love. Thank you. I'm heading out to Spain next week, so it's gonna be excited to see all the coffee shops up there. So I'm gonna be posting videos on my Spain life. If you're a viewer from Spain and maybe you wanna meet up for a cup of coffee or something, drop a comment below and I'll be down to do that. The channel's growing. Thank you, appreciate that. It is beautiful to see new subscribers coming on board. If you subscribed recently, please drop a comment below, because we want to get to know you. We want to build this community. I want to know who you are. And if you love coffee, just simply comment, I freaking love coffee. If you love tea, you can still comment that. I'll give it a thumbs up. It's okay. If you drink coffee in the morning and you love a good story, what are you doing, bro? You got to subscribe to the channel. We're going behind the cup of coffee with amazing stories and showing you the people behind this liquid gold. Subscribe, bro. See you in the next video.